So I want to talk to you, gang, about the power of your words. You know, our words, um, our words help create your focus. See, if you say that you can do something or you can't do something, you're going to focus on what you're saying. If you say, I have to do something, that's going to create your focus. You know, one of the things that Julie taught me, I love this, is that when you say you have to do this and you have to do that, holding your day as a have to is disempowering and draining. But if you say, I get to do this, I get to call physical, I get to pick the kids up, like changing the language will actually change your relationship to your life and your activities and what you have to do. But this is how, but the point of what I'm saying to you is more about the power of your words. Your words create your reality. Helen Keller, in her autobiography, you know, for those of you who know, Helen Keller was mute, blind, deaf, etc. And then she opened up to language and being able to see and communicate. And she said before she discovered language, and this is in her autobiography, she said, I was like a conscious clod, an unconscious clod of earth. My life was tactical. Like there was no spark. This is her. There was no spark of emotion. I was very tactical. Like basically, she was like an animal living instinctively. And then she says in her autobiography, she knew not when, but all of a sudden she awoke into words, to language. And when she learned language, it opened up her life and her world. I'm going to give you an analogy here too, on something that I read not too long ago. These three umpires, baseball umpires, were asked, how do you know when to call it a ball or a strike? Now, the one umpire, he had just got out of umpire school or whatever that's called. The second umpire, he'd been doing it for like 10 years. And then the third umpire, like 20 years. So he had the most experience. So this interviewer, when they asked him, how do you know when to call it a ball or strike? Their answers were very different. The first umpire who just started umpiring, he said, I call it how I see it. The second umpire, the one that had been in the business for like 10 years, he was a little bit more arrogant. How do you know to call it a ball or strike? He said, well, I call it how it is. You know, it is what it is. But the third umpire, the one that had 20 some odd years under his belt, when he was asked, how do you know whether to call it a ball or a strike? The umpire said, it ain't anything until I call it. Which, when you think about it, that's so incredibly profound and powerful, because the truth is, until that umpire says what it is, it doesn't exist as anything. That is the power the umpire has. It doesn't exist as anything until he speaks it. So I want you to start to think that that's how your life is as well. That until you speak what your goals are, your future is, how the world shows up, your relationships, you have the power to create your life just by speaking it. I don't know how I stumbled across this, but I looked up the word and definition and origin of the word abracadabra. And you know what abracadabra is. You know, first time I think I saw it in Walt Disney, Aladdin, you know, abracadabra, it opens up the thing and blah, blah. Well, it turns out that abracadabra has some history in Hebrew. There is a similar expression in Hebrew, and the definition, what it means is, I will create as I speak. In Latin or Greek, it has it's something else similar to that. But so, in other words, when you say abracadabra, you are creating that as you speak it. So as you go through your week this week, I want you to think the power of your words and what you say is like abracadabra. If you say that this is how your week's going to show up, then it'll show up that way. If you say this is how your day's going to show up, abracadabra, that's how it'll show up. You have the power to create your reality through your speaking. So I hope that helped you. For those of you that needed a little oomph, have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, stay focused, and don't forget to keep smiling.